The town of Ashpine was small enough that everyone knew the stories, even if no one admitted to believing them. The biggest one was about Graven Lake, a long stretch of black water that swallowed the moonlight and gave nothing back. Children were told not to swim there, not because of currents or sinkholes, but because of the voices. They said if you listened at night, the lake whispered your name. And if you answered, you never came back. Mara had heard the stories since she was little, but she never took them seriously. At 26, she'd returned to Ashpine after years away, worn down from city life and searching for quiet. Her grandmother's old cabin by the lake was the only place left for her to go. The first night, she sat on the back porch with a glass of wine, watching the water. The surface was still, so dark it looked like glass. Crickets hummed, owls hooted. Then, faintly, she thought she heard it. A ripple of sound almost like someone calling. Her name. She froze, wine halfway to her lips. The sound was soft, distorted, as though carried through water. She shook her head. Just the wind, but the whispers came again the next night. Clearer. Mara. This time she stood at the edge of the dock, staring at the black water. Her reflection shimmered, distorted, as if something beneath the surface was trying to press through. She whispered back, "Hello?" The lake was silent. She told herself it was stress, exhaustion, anything but real. Yet when she slept, she dreamed of drowning, arms pulling her under, voices bubbling all around. She woke with her sheets damp from sweat, her throat raw, as though she'd been screaming. A week in, Mara's childhood friend, Caleb, came to visit. He was stockier now, with lines on his face that hadn't been there before, but his eyes still carried the warmth she remembered. He eyed the lake with suspicion. "You been out here at night?" he asked. "Why?" "Because you don't. Not if you're smart." She laughed, but Caleb didn't. He told her about Jacob Miller, a boy who vanished when they were 16. Jacob had been dared to spend a night at the lake. They found his shoes on the dock, his jacket tangled in reeds. His body was never recovered. "They say the lake takes you if it knows your name," Caleb said. Mara wanted to dismiss it, but her skin prickled. That night, she stayed inside. She locked the windows, shut the blinds, tried to ignore the faint murmurs outside. Around midnight, she woke to dripping sounds. Her bare feet found the floor wet. She followed the trail into the living room, heart hammering. The front door stood wide open, lake water pooling inside. On the porch, faint footprints led away, vanishing into the night. But she hadn't opened the door. Shaking, she called Caleb the next morning. He came immediately, searching the cabin, but found no sign of forced entry. "It wants you to follow," he muttered. "That's insane." "Then explain this." He held up a scrap of paper he'd found wedged under her porch. It was soaked, the ink smeared, but one word stood out clear: her name. That night, Mara insisted Caleb stay over. They sat on the porch, flashlights ready, listening. For hours, nothing. Then, just past 2 a.m., the water rippled, though no wind stirred. "Mara!" The voice was loud, guttural, echoing like it came from below, miles of water. Caleb grabbed her wrist. "Don't answer!" Something broke the surface. At first, Mara thought it was a log, but then it rose higher, dripping, pale. A face, bloated, eyes clouded, mouth gaping. It was Jacob Miller. Mara screamed. The figure's lips moved, water spilling out, shaping her name. Caleb shouted, "Get inside!" They slammed the door, locking it. But the whispers seeped through the walls, through the floorboards, through the air itself. That night, Mara dreamed she was in the water again, but this time Caleb was beside her, screaming as hands dragged him deeper. She woke to find him gone, his bed empty, sheets soaked. Panic surged. She ran to the dock. Caleb's flashlight lay there, still glowing weakly. The water was calm, glassy, but something stirred beneath, shadows moving. "Mara!" the voices chorused, dozens now, layered, desperate. She stumbled backward. Inside, the house smelled of rot. Lake water seeped from the walls. In the mirror, her reflection didn't match her movements. It smiled when she didn't. It raised a hand to beckon her closer. She smashed the glass, shards scattering, but in every broken piece the reflection still smiled. By dawn she was trembling, delirious, unsure what was real. She packed to leave, but the road out of Ashpine was flooded. Every route led her back to the lake. On the third night, exhaustion broke her. She stepped onto the dock, the whispers a constant chorus now. The water bubbled, faces pressing against the surface. Jacob, Caleb, strangers she didn't recognize, all mouthing her name. "Mara, come home!" She collapsed to her knees, sobbing. "What do you want?" The lake stilled. Then, in perfect unison, every voice replied, "You." The last thing she felt was the cold grip of hands pulling her down. In the morning, the cabin was empty. Only her shoes remained on the dock. Locals say if you walk by Graven Lake at night, you can hear her voice among the others, whispering your name.